Good to be back.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, this is Brian Solik. We're in session 2, talking about seniors and life insurance. So we highly recommend that you look at session 1 first, because I think this is a good tag along for that. Mm-hmm. And Brian, so why don't you give us a few words of yourself?
The big question mark is, why would a senior want life insurance in retirement? We noted in the first session, a typical Wall Street advice is you only need it during your working years. And we're looking at 2 different scenarios. First session was someone who's more concerned about a senior, their income and their life and protecting their assets and so forth. Well, there are some folks out there, you know what, they've got great pensions and Social Security and assets, and they're doing fine. But they're looking at their assets and saying, I would like to maximize how much is left to my kids when I pass away, or grandkids or nephews and nieces or whoever else you want to leave it to. So we're going to focus on that. How does life insurance, or how could life insurance play a part in that of passing assets on? So we're going to look at problem number 1, and that is future tax increases, which can decrease your assets.
And you said like in 2026, we're going to expect tax
Well, it's already going to go up in 2026 because we're filming this in 2020.
Right.
Congress 2 years ago passed an 8-year plan to lower taxes and is supposed to revert back in 2026 to where they were back in 2017, which means they'll be higher. And then depending on who's in office, I mean, the sky's the limit. There's some folks would love to raise taxes all across the board, not just for the rich. When they go up for the upper brackets, the middle brackets tend to go up with it. And so you've got all the issues we have about national debt, Medicare, Social Security issues, and now in 2020, trillions of dollars being paid by the government. It's got to come from somewhere.
Yikes.
That's a whole other reason to think, wow, there's a good chance they could be increasing taxes. So there's a handout here in front. You can see this chart. I don't know if you can tell the numbers there, but it just shows the history of the highest tax bracket over the last century. And if you can just see in the last part of the chart there, we're on a relatively low area there. Okay, the chart got a little bit cut off. The highest bracket right now is 39.6% for those who make the highest amounts of income. Well, during World War II and Korean War, Jenny.
Wow, I'm looking.
It was over 90% for the highest bracket.
How do people afford to live?
Well, that was for the people who are the highest brackets.
Okay.
So, give you an example. Ronald Reagan was an actor in the 1950s.
Right.
He made about $100,000 per picture. He decided to make 2 pictures a year because if he made a 3rd picture, it bumped him into the highest bracket, and he kept about 10% of that money. So what was the point? He said,
doing it.
He made 2 movies, and he kept a higher percentage. So, anyways, that's how it works. But even the middle bracket, John F. Kennedy, for instance, he actually lowered taxes. Before he did, the middle bracket was 69%, which is crazy. The highest bracket, again, we have now is 39.6. You look at the graph, the other things I mentioned, and quite a few people out there are saying there's a very good chance taxes are going to go up and maybe way up. So what does that mean for someone who wants to leave money to heirs? Well, if your assets typically are in taxable or tax deferred, like IRAs, 401ks, well, guess what?
It's going to be bad.
It's coming out to you, required distribution, and IRS is taking a chunk. When the kids inherit it, we talked about in one of the previous sessions with one of the CPAs we had in our talk here, the death of the stretch IRA. It used to be if someone inherited an IRA or 401k, they could take small required distributions out over their entire lifetime, which could potentially be 30, 40, even 50 years possibly. Well, now you've got to do it. It's got to be completed over a 10-year period or at the end of 10 years, which means more money to the government, more money coming out of the inheritance you're trying to leave. So they call it the death of the stretch IRA. So leaving money to heirs in 401ks, IRAs, those kind of tax-deferred plans, it's not a tax-efficient way to do it. It never was great, and it just got worse when in 2020 they killed the stretch IRA. Okay? So it's all about taxes. If you want to know what's going to be left for your kids, that's a problem right there.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
So, solution, life insurance has a what? Tax-free death benefit. So you've got to do the math. Everybody's different, depending on your age, depending on your health. You have to do the math. That's why you have to sit down with an experienced life insurance advisor. And by the way, we mentioned in the first session, Wall Street. This is not typical Wall Street advice. When I worked for Merrill Lynch for 9 years, that's not something we really did very often at all. And so you need to find someone who's an expert in this, and that's what they do. And they can do the math for you to see, hey, does this make sense, given my age and my health, to take some of this IRA money and maybe pull it out gradually, maybe over 6 to 10 year period, something like that is typical. Put it into a life policy that'll pay a tax-free death benefit when I pass away. Now, this is what the ultra-rich do. People think the ultra-rich just totally avoid taxes. Okay, but sometimes they have certain things with their businesses they can do. But typically, when they're leaving money, when they pass away, they have already purchased a permanent life insurance policy, sometimes, for millions and millions of dollars of death benefit, to cover the estate taxes and other taxes that are going to be there that they can't avoid. So the rich have been doing it for years, but the average person who maybe is sitting on who knows what, but their income's fine,
Right.
and they'd rather give more money to their heirs, less to the government, they can utilize this also. They just need to look at the math and see if it makes sense for them.
And so if I were going to do this, I could come to somebody like you, Brian, and you could
Sure.
lead me to what would be the best policy
This is
for
what
me?
I've been doing, for over 10 years after leaving Merrill Lynch, helping people and just basically looking at it, doing the math, and see if it makes sense for what you were trying to accomplish.
So what have you seen in your navigation and what you're recommending? Just because I know COVID is a big issue right now.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple of months, any changes as to what you would recommend in different directions? Because when we first started this, it was just on the very beginning of that. Now
Sure.
that we're on the end, are you seeing anything different?
Well, I think maybe what's brought people, seniors, is brought to their mind a little more of the health risks, and seeing elderly people die maybe has brought to mind, wow, I could pass away sooner than I thought. I might be a healthy 65, 75-year-old, but wow, things could happen. I want to make sure this is all taken care of. I mean, you're all your finances. But in this aspect, maybe I should look at that now. I could pass away, and is this the best place where my money is if I want to pass it on to my kids or other heirs? So it's brought more awareness.
Great.
Yeah. Now, potential problem number 2.
Yeah.
Is long-term care issues that we talked about in the first session that could deplete all your money, including your home, right?
Yep.
And that's not exaggeration. It happens. And long-term care costs, depending on where you live and so forth, in 2020, the figure I use, Jenny, is somewhere in $75,000 to $85,000 a year for full-blown nursing home care. Somewhere in the $45,000 to $50,000 range for at-home care. So that adds up real quick, and of course it keeps going up. So if you're 75 and 10 years from now might need it, the cost, astronomical. So it's pretty easy math to see how easily someone's $300,000 to $500,000 nest egg could be gone, and they have no money to leave to the kids. Okay, so what's the solution on that? Well, we talked about in the first session. Okay. If you want to preserve money, for your heirs or for yourself, these permanent life insurance policies have a long-term care rider, typically for no extra charge or minimal administrative fee, that now give you a whole lot more money here that you can use for long-term care and then protect your assets. So your assets can get passed on. Let's just say you did that and someone had a $300,000 death benefit. Okay, and they used up $200,000 of that for long-term care and then passed away. Well, you've got a $100,000 death benefit still left for your heirs, and whatever other assets you have, okay, is kept also. And your heirs, again, we mentioned the death benefit is tax-free, so now they're getting all this money tax-free instead of taxable. So overall, you combine it all, this is what a lot of people have done. Again, the ultra rich have done this for years, but it's really available for the average person to look into as far as how to protect that. So you look at life insurance, we've talked about 3 different ways that can help you. This is kind of combining session 1 and session 2. Whether you're just concerned about your life and your income, maybe because you don't really care what's left to your heirs, or you're single, or maybe you never had children, or whatever your situation is, you're concerned about yourself. Okay, you have to be first. Life insurance in a lot of situations can be a real help to have a bunch of money you can use for tax-free income later, and also protection so all your money doesn't go to the nursing home and you're left at the whims of the government or the agencies that tell you where to live, so forth. You can preserve your dignity. And if you want to focus more on leaving money to kids or other heirs, this has the same benefits of the tax-free death benefit. Now, some people are a combination. Wow, I need to be concerned about myself, but I'm also concerned about leaving money to kids.
Yeah.
So it's not one or the other all the time, a little bit of both. And that's where this can help out also. So you mentioned in the other session, you Google this, some advisors hate long-term care insurance. Permanent life insurance. Some advisors don't understand it. When I was 9 years at Merrill Lynch, we didn't understand it. We didn't focus on that. Why? We focused on Wall Street investments. That's what we did. You can't be an expert in everything. Okay, there's specialists in different fields for different reasons. But if you look at what the ultra-rich have done, and a lot of this is, again, public records, CEOs of companies. If you look at other articles that are out there, advisors like CPA Ed Slott, we mentioned him. You can look him up, Ed Slott, S-L-O-T-T, on YouTube. He's done a bunch of PBS specials, written some bestsellers, and he doesn't sell these products, so he's an objective voice. In his research, he says this is one of the most underutilized tax advantage tools. He said it's just people should look at it more, and it makes sense for a lot of people. It's just underutilized, and part of it is, again, if you have a Wall Street advisor, they're just not going to either know about it or be an expert in it to help you know. So a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, there are.
Every situation is different, but it's nice to know there's some solutions out there, right?
Yeah.
And I can tell you a lot of stories that we won't, say here on this short segment here of people that have these strategies in place, and the peace of mind knowing, wow, if taxes go up,
I'm good.
I'm good. If I get sick, I've got a lot of coverage. I pass away, I'll pass money on to my spouse or my kids. I've got things covered. And that's what it's all about, is trying to help people protect your money.
Yeah, it is. And take care of themselves too.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, thank you so much. On behalf of the Northern Wake Senior Center and Resources for Seniors, we want to thank Brian for all of his time and his expertise.